Friday's Digest, Season 2, Episode 1. Today we're going to discuss the huge benefits and downside of having a PhD. This week I noticed something that demonstrated again the huge benefit of having a PhD. It happened while I met a colleague of mine who also holds a PhD, someone I had never met before. So we started our meeting with a brief introduction, but then something clicked. My colleague glanced at my white coat, spotted the PhD next to my name, and in less than a minute, we were already having a passionate discussion about the complex effect of radiotherapy on head and neck cancer. Now, these topics usually take hours to discuss, but we covered them in seconds, all thanks to our mutual understanding and respect for the PhD journey each of us had to undergo. And we agreed to continue our common interest with a joint study. And in moments like these, I'm reminded of the profound impact of this journey, of the PhD journey. And that will be today's podcast topic, PhD. Many people claim that obtaining their PhD is one of the most fulfilling and rewarding experiences they have ever had in their lives. But when you ask them, what specifically do you enjoy about being a PhD? Their answers vary. They mention the academic freedom, the flexible schedules, and the love for research. But when you want to give advice to students or doctors who are considering pursuing a PhD, just mentioning the academic freedom and the flexible schedules and the love for research, it's difficult to comprehend. It's just difficult to understand for someone with very limited research experience. So today, I'd like to discuss two benefits and one drawback of being a PhD, and I'll be focusing on real life experiences that anyone can relate to. So number one will be PhD, the ultimate icebreaker. Number two will be PhD as a tool to settle in any lab. And the last one will be PhD, the internal homework. Let's dive in. First of all, PhD, the ultimate icebreaker. When you have a PhD, it serves like an incredible icebreaker in professional settings. These three letters, the PhD, they signify a journey of rigorous study and countless hours, thousands of hours spent in a lab. When you connect with another individual, or at least try to network with another individual, the experience of your PhD, it creates an instant bond, and it's particularly important in the fast-paced medical world where time is limited and it seems like no one ever have time for anything. And this week's experience with my colleague was an excellent example. Our PhDs enable us to connect immediately, and we trusted each other and our background and went straight to business. Anyone who attempted to network in the conventional way surely understands the usefulness of this advantage of having the ultimate icebreaker when you network. Number two, PhD as a tool to settle in any lab. When you obtain your PhD, it equips you with the skills that make you adaptable in any research environment. When I began my research fellowship in the US, it was about 4.5 years ago, I was amazed at how easily I could integrate into new lab setting. Of course, my mentors and the fantastic lab I was in played a significant role in all of this, but my PhD felt like a super tool. Everything seemed familiar. The processes, the methodologies, the research culture, it was like second nature. And having this PhD is an incredible, powerful asset to have. Lastly, I want to touch on a potential drawback of having a PhD. I call it PhD, the eternal homework. Unlike other professions where work ends once you exit the office door, having a PhD comes with a mindset of continuous exploration. It's not just the degree, it's actually a way of life that forever changes how you perceive and engage with the world. Simply put, you will always have homework, that sensation of always having something to do. You will always feel the urge to invest time in your research or feel guilty if you haven't. It's like my PhD instilled Jiminy Cricket. Remember Jiminy Cricket, the conscious from the cartoons? So it's like my PhD is a conscious that constantly nudges me towards my next task or next adventure. For doctors and scientists, there will always be something that you want to do with research. Once you exit the clinic door, you will always think, okay, I need to do something with my research. It doesn't mean that you will necessarily pursue it and you can just, leave the clinic and go home and do nothing related to research, but you will always have the urge to do something with the research, and this urge will always be there. And that's exactly what it feels like always to have homework. So if you don't like the idea of this eternal homework, forever having homework, perhaps pursuing the PhD for 4 to 6 years until you actually obtain your PhD, maybe it's not the right path for you. And remember, you don't need a PhD to excel at research. It certainly helps, but something to consider and think about. With that, we'll end today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.